For people that have never heard of QORE Performance before and what we're talking about, let's go back to the original product. So basically you have sleeves, right? So you have basically compression gear and it's got little pockets in it, and we're just taking little frozen ice packs, right? Otter pops.
Yep. Exactly.
So that they're very moldable, right? They're flexible.
And they're small.
They're small, right? They're easily put into a freezer or to a cooler or whatever to get frozen or get cold, and then they're easily taken in and out, and you can swap them out. And you're basically wearing this stuff all over you, so you kind of look like a pillow pack, right?
Back then, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, we actually have those in here. We have heat and cool that we throw either in the freezer or in the heating bin over here in the treatment room, you know, for the same thing. So it's basically like a blanket, right? That's either cold or hot. So it starts there. It goes to the questions from, you know, the Army, like, hey, we could use your help here. But let's talk a little bit about the power component here, right? Because you mentioned something there, people that may have gone over people's heads. Well, if anybody's ever run their air conditioner, right, they know how expensive it is to run that air conditioner because it costs a lot of money to take hot air or heat and make it cold, right?
Yep.
So there, you're being tasked with, we need this to get cold and stay cold, but you're not going to get any external power to do this, right? So then this comes to the Marcus Capone conversation where they found a simple solution to, we just take our little 16-ounce water bottles, we freeze them, we throw them in our kit, we then drink that after it's been melted, and then we can crush that up or whatever and throw those bottles out, and you know, so it's disposable, and it cost us nothing to do that.
Yeah.
It cost us no power.
They had to carry the drinking water anyway.
Anyways, yeah. So they're carrying their drinking water and they're getting a cooling system.
Yep.
So this leads to the first product, which again was
IcePlate. Or well, the first product was TCCC base layers, but that leads to IcePlate.
Sorry, the IcePlate. So what was the IcePlate?
So the IcePlate was just our idea to reshape the water bottle to capture the behavior that Marcus and everybody else, you know, apparently in Afghanistan and Iraq was doing at the time, which was, hey, freeze the water, freeze your drinking water, right? Get more than one benefit out of the drinking water you already have to carry. So we created IcePlate, which is the first water bottle shaped like an armor plate. And at the time, it was shaped like a medium SAPI plate, 10 by 12, very rudimentary, flat, right? But it would fit under your plate carrier, and it would be flat and thin.
So it's basically, it would be like, for people to conceptualize this, effectively looks like a camelback bladder or so like a platypus bladder or something like that, but it's shaped like a plate. So it has a tube.
It has a drinking tube.
It has a drinking tube with the mouthpiece and whatever similar setup. So you got a fill top, right? And you got the tube coming out the bottom. It starts frozen. It ends unfrozen. You get to consume it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It starts frozen. As your body heat melts the ice, it creates cold drinking water. And that phase change process where the water converts from solid to liquid, ice to water, that actually is absorbing a tremendous amount of body heat, right? So we create, humans are inherently inefficient when it comes to energy and heat.
Very.
We are extremely versatile, right? So that's the price, right? Every engineering system has trade-offs. So you can either be super versatile and you're not going to be that efficient, or you can be hyper efficient and not super versatile, right? It almost doesn't matter what you're applying it to. But in this particular case, humans, we are taking in mass, right? We are mixing it with oxygen and food. Yeah, we're taking in mass food. We're mixing it with oxygen. And then we are basically creating a chemical reaction inside our stomachs and our...
It's like a nuclear reactor of sorts.
Right, or a fire, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that energy is then moved to our muscles and used to create motion.
And our brain, and our respiratory system, and our
the whole
cardiac
body,
system, right? Yeah.
The brain, as you know better than I do, right, actually consumes a tremendous amount of our power.
People don't get that. Yeah. I mean, when you look at like carbohydrate consumption and what the human body does, people always think muscles without that carbohydrate. Go ahead and not taking carbs for a couple of days and see
it's
how
not
that
good
brain,
for you.
See how that brain fog feels.
Right. You need fat, you need carbs, right? And you need all this stuff because your body consumes a tremendous amount of energy. We need 100 watts a day just to live, right? That's like just basic stasis. It's nothing fancy, right? And if you want to do anything, it's quite a bit more than that.
Right. So once you start putting demands on that goes up exponentially, obviously based on the human.
Yep.
The individual components, how big is that? How big is that person? What is that? Is how much muscle mass are they carrying on their frame? What is the intensity and the duration of that activity? There's a cost to all of this.
Absolutely.
And thank you for walking through that, because I think this is where people kind of get lost. They're like, I still don't get it, man. I understand that I would probably feel a lot more comfortable if it was hot outside and I had, some ice packs. That would be cool, but I'm still not getting it.
Right.
So.
And that's the thing. Most people think of cooling and thermoregulation as comfort, right? Oh, I'll be more comfortable if I have.
Right.
And it's not common for, it's become more common. Hopefully we've had some small impact on that to connect the dots that thermoregulation and human performance are actually inextricably linked in a way that is far greater than most people understand.
I agree with that statement.
And we have Dennis Grahn and Craig Heller to thank for that, because really we didn't understand it before their 2003 study. Not well anyway. Certainly not at the level that they do. And now anybody can go to, Andrew Huberman's podcast. He talks about it a lot. Peter Attia talks about it.
He's a Stanford guy. Huberman.
Both Stanford guys,
yeah.
right? Huberman is a current professor of ophthalmology at Stanford School of Medicine. And I think Peter Attia is a Stanford-educated medical doctor, right? He was a surgeon. Yeah, I mean, Stanford is a wonderful place because it's the genesis for this just unbelievable discovery into how to hack the human body. And, at QORE Performance, we are huge believers that thermoregulation is the next night vision, right? It is the next hack to elite human performance.
I love that statement because I agree with that statement. People might be going, that's a stretch, man. Mm-hmm. Well, that's probably because you don't understand it. If you understood thermoregulation like you understand your nods, you would probably change your mind. So we need to, I think, to do this podcast respect, we should probably talk a little bit about that, because this is a true hack. This is not some pill, juice, tea, supplement kind of thing. This has an immediate impact, and the data consistently shows over and over and over how impactful or how important this is in terms of cognitive performance and physical performance, recovery. Yeah, your ability to go harder for longer, right, and then be able to do that again more frequently.
Yeah, it's the math is super simple, right? We only use about 20% of the energy that we create effectively, for body functions, for motion, et cetera. The remaining 80% is actually burned off in waste heat. And it's that waste heat that has then the negative effects that negatively affect core temperature, negatively affect muscle recovery, negatively affect endurance, et cetera, et cetera. And that's waste heat is what we are addressing with Ice Flask, with IcePlate, with IceVents, with our entire ecosystem. Everything built around it or about it is built to address that waste heat, to prevent it from staying in your body and negatively impacting your brain, your muscles, your heart, et cetera, et cetera.